Yeah, what the hell was that?
You tell me. But
It does feel like something I would have thought was really good in like 2008. Unfortunately, this movie came out in 2016. What are we talking about, Tim? What did we watch?
what? Yeah, what indeed? We watched a movie from 2016 or 1960 called The Love Witch that skates by on presentation, but ultimately doesn't really have anything at its core. Mm-hmm. I want to say, I think between the two of us, we watched it, and the thing that I have the toughest time getting a handle on is what this movie is trying to say.
I'll say. Now, this movie was pretty universally acclaimed when it came out, which is why it was on my list. I won't say I'm confounded by the near universal praise for this movie, because I really think that people were snowed by the admittedly stunning production. And let's get this out of the way. As an achievement by an auteur, I have to hand it to Anna Biller. She is an auteur. She controlled every aspect of this production. She labored over it for 7 years or something like that. She wrote it, she directed it, she did the production design, she did the costume, she did the fucking makeup. She wrote some of the music. She did everything. So
the woman filmmaker was obsessed with costumes and makeup, you say?
Well, I mean, we know who to blame, right? Like, there's no one else that we can pin this one on, is my point. No, but seriously, it does look incredible.
It absolutely does.
It is ravishing to look at. Its star is, admittedly, stunning. Certainly a woman that one might want to project oneself on until you realize, like, the poisonousness of her
like bitch
core.
Crazy, yeah.
So you have this exquisite object, this crafted work of art that really confused us and also bored us because it's 2 fucking hours long.
Right.
This is the really confounding thing about this entire production, because when we were watching it, I don't know how you felt, Tim. We were kind of holding ourselves back because, we wanted to save our bile for the show.
That's what the people want.
I was looking at it, I was like, okay, like, this is a pastiche. This is influenced by not just 60s cinema, but specifically giallos, lush Hollywood productions, what used to be called women's pictures.
Right, yeah, it does have a pitch perfect kind of hammer horror set design.
It's very gothic.
Yes, it has that whole Technicolor glow to it.
Yeah, and props. I mean, working with film and lighting it and everything, I admit I wouldn't know where the fuck to begin. I would have to have like a really adept cinematographer and be like, okay, I'm leaving this in your hands. This is what confuses me about the movie, because you watch it and you see the camp quality of it, the stilted performances, the over-the-topness of it all. And you're like, okay, this is pastiche, right? I found this quote from Anna Biller, the filmmaker, about her own movie, and I'm just going to read this to you. With The Love Witch, I was not trying to make a 60s movie. I was just trying to make a film using classic lighting and design techniques, emphasizing a strong heroine, color symbolism, strong psychological themes, and glamour. I also wrote a script with the rhythms of a play because I like movies made from plays. The actors' performances came out of that writing style. They gave sincere, professional performances and were not trying to be stilted or wooden. Since these are mostly techniques no one uses anymore, it came out like a 60s movie. If I could have one wish, it would be for people to stop talking about it as a pastiche, parody, homage, or simulacrum of a 60s movie and start talking about it just as a movie.
So she didn't make it as a 60s movie, she just happened to use all the earmarks of a 60s movie. Is she just that out of touch with her own movie? I don't get it.
I mean, when I read that, I was like, don't kid a kidder. But, okay, like, let me take this at face value is indeed we're supposed to take the movie at face value. Like, there's not supposed to be any sort of irony to it. It's like, no, this is just a story that is just kind of lushly told. And what absolutely throws me about that statement is the performances.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, honey, if these are professional performances by your standards, like,
Yeah,
did
I
you
mean,
hire everybody from a high school play?
Yeah, otherwise, I mean, that has to be on purpose. It has to be in keeping with the tone. I think that maybe she's more concerned about being pigeonholed, but I mean, like, you did a great, cover of a Hammer horror movie. Like, be proud of that. Like, you achieved what you set out to do, apparently.
Yeah. And if
Just
you
roll
hew
with it.
so closely to that sort of style, what do you think people are going to say? And it does seem that, leaving aside all the feminist themes, which we'll get to those,
If we must, yeah.
people have really taken this as a pastiche, because if you read reviews of it, it's like, oh, this is really a brilliant evocation of the time, and, it's this very wry send-up of, like, outdated gender politics and blah, blah, blah.
It's a very simplistic send up. Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently it's not a send-up.
How? I mean, if it walks like a duck,
I
what else
know.
Like,
And-
sorry, you have made a pastiche.